Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. MLB is implementing a bunch of rule changes in the minors, and we are going to discuss them. Let's do it. Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. Thank you very much for joining us today. As always, we're presented by DraftKings. My name is Jimmy. His name is Jake. Trevor. Wow, glasses. You guys both got like this very similar shape sunglasses on. I feel jealous. Trevor's got hat glasses on, and BBD looking good with his stubble, beard, not fully beard yet. Plaid jacket. I like that jacket. We're doing, everyone doing good? Jake, how are you?
Jomboy with the Not a Math Pod shirt, the Asheville Taurus hats. Outfits, we're back, baby. Doing well, man, doing well. Glad to have you home. It's been quite the travel for you. Survival mode at the office. I was in charge, so I put Zach in charge. I said, Zach, I'm fucking panicking. Help me. And yeah, I'm rocking the Hot Boy glasses. I bought 3 pairs of them off Amazon, part of my fashion committee. So I've got these in the bag now. It does ruin my Wake and Jake shirt. I do think that's hilarious, though. I do want someone on the subway to look at me and be like, what's happening here?
Wrong glasses.
You look like a fool. So doing pretty well. Baseball hot in the streets. People talking about the face of baseball hot in the streets. Speaking of the face of baseball, now stepping up to the mic, number 24, Trevor Plouffe.
I got to ask, the fashion committee, are they okay with you shopping for your clothes on Amazon? Is that...
Yes, Trevor.
We doing that? Okay.
It's 2018, man. Grow up.
I'm just curious because I'm yet to buy a piece of clothing on Amazon, and I buy everything else, so maybe I'll start to look. I don't know, like...
Check it out. I mean, I
got to check it out.
We did this online the other day, and my fashion committee asked you about a pair of glasses you were wearing, and those are kind of not in the budget right now, but these for $10 are in the budget because the Twins forgot to reimburse me for my work there.
My boy Jake.
That is my boy, Jake. I'm happy to have everyone back, though. I know we all were traveling, doing some fun things. I saw a picture of your bare chest on the IG, Jake.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It kind of got the juices flowing, and now you can see I got high tea. High tea for the app today.
I am fresh off a plane. Jake went to a nudist bar. So everyone had good weekends. Did you go to a nudist bar, Trev?
I didn't.
Happy
Did
birthday. Happy birthday to Olivia Plouffe, your queen.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Happy birthday, Olivia. She's not listening right now, but I'll make sure to tell her that we mentioned it.
She might be listening. We are live. All right, this episode is brought to you by a bunch of special people. Hillary Wiskin. That's a cool name. Luke Hatakak.
What was that, Jim?
Hatakita. Luke Hatakita. That's a fun name if you figure it out.
Yeah.
Mark Hugling, Nick O'Neill, Weldon Will, Eddie Queller Aguilar.
Oh, my Jim.
How would you say that? How would you say that name?
I had a coach with that name. It's Cuellar, but...
What is it?
Roll the L's. Cuellar.
Cuellar Aguilar?
Queller that's a tough one.
Jared Wells, Drew Kempen, Eric Branke, Owen Spino, or Spino, Eric Howard, Jeff Cronin, Serena Marie, Nico Bucero, going soft C on that one, Maxwell Bond, Alan Davenport, Andrew Johnston. Those are our most newest patrons. Thank you very much for supporting us.
Thanks, guys.
You got me going today, man.
Trev. The boys are back.
It's a lot of names.
Baseball's close. We're juiced up, man.
It's a lot of names.
Good hashtag good vibes pod.
If people want to start putting the phonetic spelling of their names when they sign up, I'm here for it.
Please, let's start doing that.
I got a good laugh.
Or don't, because it's one of my favorite parts of the show.
I got a good laugh on our last episode. We did the truce, the friends truce. Like, nobody could be mean about our sleeper players.
Yeah.
And someone commented, like, 5 minutes later, I made a joke about how
Trev outkicked
Trevor's-
his coverage. Yeah.
Yeah, Olivia's too hot for Trevor, and that's a consensus. That's not a being rude thing. That's just
I mean, yeah, but did you see my turtleneck?
yeah. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Pretty
Hot.
good.
Hot.
That guy's unapproachable.
You can't talk to that. guy.
I will say this.
It's like no one when you were in that outfit, no one came up and talked to you, Trev.
They did though, Jim.
Wow.
Listen,
No.
I swear this happened.
LA.
Any guy knows this is a rarity. Another male came up to me and said, "Dude, I gotta say, like he said this. Your swag is off the charts." He's
You
like,
drink
I'm
that.
very impressed with your outfit."
Yes, yes.
You-
I
he
actually,
Came up to me. I swear he.
I was
said that
walking
to
past
me.
Yankee Stadium the other day on my way to work, and a guy came up to me and said, "Dude, I think you should be an outfielder."
No, that's
I know it sounds like I'm joking, but he really did say that. It caught me off guard.
You
but I was
punch him in
there,
the
I was like,
face?
wow. I said, "Hey, thank you, man.
No, the
That's really nice of you to say that."
I was actually very much enjoying the comments on your Instagram today, Trev. I don't know if you saw, but Archer was in there. A couple other MLB greats, Dickerson was in there, and they were giving you love. They were like, not a lot of guys can pull that off, and you do. So take credit for that.
Thank you. I feel good about myself.
That's great. That's one of the
Yeah,
keys to
thank you,
life.
guys.
All right, well, we got a bunch of rule changes that we're going to discuss today. They're being implemented in the minor leagues. They've provided a lot of people with conversations to be had. There's 6 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The big one is the shift. We'll save that to the end because I think it's the biggest conversation. We'll start off with the one that I think we will have the least to say. In AAA, the sizes of each base will be increased from 15-inch squares to 18-inch squares.
Least to say.
Yeah.
This
I don't
is
like it.
big.
You don't like
Here
it?
we go.
No, I'm serious. Like I get what they're trying to do, and so I guess we should mention what they're trying to do. Right? They're trying to
Please.
avoid collisions, contact around the bases, keep everyone on the field. Right? That's the only.
No, they're
reason they
increased stolen bases, I think is what they said. That too, but also increasing stolen bases and action.
Why would you? See, to me, that doesn't make any sense. You're going to make it easier, and we're going to go on, and more of these rules are all geared towards that. But for this one, I thought if that's your reasoning that you want to get more people to steal, and you're going to have more safe calls at second base, third base, I guess this works. To me, I thought it was more of like avoiding collisions around the base, especially at first base. And if that was the case, then I would have said we might have to have a rectangle base at first base, because I don't think it should come closer at all. I think the length between the bases is perfect. Now it's going to be a few inches shorter, right?
Well, it's going to be...
I'd rather just be out more and give more guys a bigger lane to run to, I guess.
It's going to be like a couple inches. I don't think this makes a difference. I think this... I laughed out loud when I read this one because I was like, oh my God, what genius suggested this? I had a very good image of him holding up a normal base and then holding up a base 3 inches bigger. Kind of like...
This is the future.
yeah.
Honestly, guys, think about it, though. I know it won't matter because everyone's going to be using these bases, but think about some of the calls throughout baseball history that would have been changed, especially with instant replay. Now, this might not matter if there's no instant replay, but with instant replay, I feel like it could have altered some of
Dude,
baseball
you know what?
history.
I love the Ken Burns documentary on baseball. Like, in the whole first 10 minutes or 15 minutes, there's waxing poetic about baseball, and I love it. And there's one dude on there, like a baseball historian, who says they just chose 90 feet, and it's the perfect distance. Think of how many bang-bang plays there are. And I want to tell that dude, like, if it was 85 feet, there'd still be bang-bang plays.
Bang, bang plays.
Think of how many guys are out by a step. Like, that's not like it's kind of just jumping the gun there.
It feels right. It's
It's just
beautiful.
something that people say romantically. It's the perfect distance. Like, oh,
It's going to change things, though. I mean, look, I just think of this. If a guy's on the fringe of being an excellent runner and then like a good runner, the good runner is going to like jump up a little bit in the amount of times he gets on base. And I don't know, like they probably did some research on this. What does the 2 inches do? And I think some of the FanGraph article you guys sent over said it's not going to change much. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, it could change something.
I can speak pretty
It's
well
interesting.
on what the extra 2 inches can do. And it's going to be, honestly, you're not going to, I was just going to say, honestly, you're not going to feel it. But yeah, on those bang bang plays. And hey, how about this? Maybe some creative slides. If you're a good slider, you get a little extra bag to grab. No, I mean, this won't be noticed at all. This is happening in what, AAA?
Uh-huh.
So why are we doing it then? If this doesn't do anything, why are we doing it?
Well, hold on.
I absolutely hate it.
No,
it's a testing ground.
Don't be that person that gets mad about
testing
tests. Like, test the craziest shit you want. That's
but it's first of all, it's in AAA. So it's not just like in the Atlantic League or something like that. So it's in AAA, and if it's that close, that means they want to do it. You guys just spent, the last couple of minutes saying it's not going to change anything. It's all going to be the same. So what are we doing then?
So if it doesn't change anything, they'll just be like, all right, whatever. I don't put a second bag like softball if you want to avoid collisions. I don't care about that.
Yeah,
people would be up and
only at first.
Only at first. People would be up and people are up in arms about everything. I want to say across the board, all these changes I think are in great spirit of what they're trying to accomplish. Where the one batter minimum I think was so stupid and just false, like spirit, whatever. And same with like can't step out. They were doing dumb shit. All of these, whether they actually get implemented in MLB or not, I'm happy they're testing them out and the thought process that they're having. So, but some people feel like to be a baseball fan, you can't allow yourself to want progress or change.
I'm in on the double bag to get people not running in the line. Like there's strategy to run inside the line when guys have tough places to make. You could almost get rid of that.
With the double bag, it's stay outside the foul line.
I think the only thing I'd be interested to see, and this is why they got to test it at a lower level, is like it would be the ground balls to first, right, that are going to hit the bag, which, hey, that's a few plays, but as we're talking about and we're implementing these rules, if it's kind of impossible to see if the ball would have hit the fair part of the bag or the foul part of the bag, I don't know. But I'm in on that because why are we even risking that? Like, just go the 90 feet to first base and let's not worry about first basemen and runners just getting – like, that's kind of the worst play in baseball right now.
Yeah.
A runner sprinting to first and an innocent first baseman just getting ready to get popped. Like, yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah, it's no fun. I mean, you have to position yourself the right way. You have to know what balls to go after. I mean, you could break a wrist easily.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, that's the bases being 3 inches bigger in AAA.
I don't get it.
You guys want to go? I mean, electric strike zone. We've probably talked about this in the past. This is coming to MLB, and they did it in the independent league. They're gonna do it in low A, and they're just maybe it's in 5 years, maybe it's in 2. Whenever they perfect it and they think the technology is the same strike zone that they want. Like I know in the independent league, the strike zone was much different because if you threw a breaking pitch that just clipped that front corner, it really was never at the knees. It clipped the zone like on the way down before it reached the batter, so they had to change it a little bit. But I don't know. I mean,
yeah, this Fangraphs article we keep referencing, we should give a shout out. Brendan Galowski and Kevin Goldstein do some really, really good thoughts on it. Yeah, I mean, electronic strike zones is coming. They have the over-under as 2023, which, man, that seems like a crazy number, but that's also that's 2 years away, man. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. And I don't know. For me, I still like having the home plate up, and it feels like there should be a challenge system. I think that is the easiest way to keep the game moving and make this a worthwhile solution. And it's almost a little fun, right? Like if that 2-2 pitch is there, doesn't get called, and your manager throws the challenge flag and you get punched out of the inning, that gets my juices going. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure one day in baseball it's going to be fully automated, but it is going to be a scary day for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I think they're going to bypass the challenge and just go straight to everything's electric. I can't wait. I hate sitting with bad rules or bad calls.
I'm not sure how to feel about it. I like the challenge. I like what you guys are saying. I like maybe not all the time because that would be annoying because they miss a ton of pitches,
But Jimmy, you also don't currently,
3.
when they show strike zones on the broadcast, you don't think those are real at all.
Just that ESPN one.
Like the ESPN zone.
Oh, the K zone? No, those aren't.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be using something like that.
No, it's different than that. They already that's what they used it's like what they use for tennis and shit.
Right.
Yeah. Here's what people don't aren't thinking about, especially hitters. I talk to a lot of hitters and they want this because they feel like they're getting slighted and they might, an umpire misses a call, they're pissed. They want to get the call right. The problem with it is, yeah, you want to get the call right, but the idea of the strike zone that we have is not the idea of the strike zone that's coming with an automated strike zone. And we know now, pitchers and the technology, I mean, it's all the tech in baseball helps pitchers. Very few things in tech help hitters. Like we're getting this VR thing where you can try to take some live at bats, but that's not close, man. I mean, I know that there are some that are getting there, but the ones that I've used aren't close. We're going to get these pitchers exploiting the strike zone big time. Like they're going to be working on it all off season. They're going to be dropping that stupid ephus curveball to the top. They're going to do exactly what Jim's saying. They're going to be aiming for that bottom portion where it just barely clips. They're going to exploit this, and hitters are going to have to figure something out.
Well, once
unless they get it dialed in where everyone can agree, I think initially hitters are going to be like, "What just happened?"
I agree with that. I think they're waiting to get it dialed in to where it's closer to what we're actually having being implemented now. But once there's a strike zone, and it's basically like backyard wiffle ball, or like how the wiffle ball is, like, like obviously it's a little different because wiffle ball is if you hit it, it doesn't matter when it crosses the plate. But if it's just like known, it's going to be such a better system.
I agree if it's good and everyone learns it. I'm just saying initially it's
initially,
really
but eventually when people learn it and like it's just, hey, we all
baseball's played. Like
this is the game. It's going to be so much better than dealing with what we're dealing with now.
Well, and that is the other part of the conversation, though, because as you know, we're going to eventually get to shifts, and the whole thing about baseball is that the game adjusts, the game adapts, and you see the old Greg Maddux highlights where he's got Eric Gregg behind the plate, and Maddux he's in the other batter's box getting the call, and now you look at, but back then anything above the belt was not a strike. Now the strike zone's going back up. You get that high fastball called up there. So that is going to be the crazy thing, that they have to make sure you're right, because if you're calling balls and strikes to Altuve and Judge, how does that zone work? Is it in their stance? Is it how they normally stand? That's going to be a weird adjustment period. And
it's got to be different for everybody. It's going to be.
I laughed.
It's got to be. What's it called? Custom to every body type. If they're doing electronic strike zones, it can't just be like a box.
And I mean, they could be doing this the same with the pitch timer, and we can combine them now, where you implement it in the minors. So eventually, everyone that comes up to the majors, they know what they're dealing with. And some guys will get grandfathered in, and that'll be a tough time for them. But like the pitch timer, they've had a pitch timer in the minor leagues forever. So a lot of the pitchers that are coming up have faster tempos and play to that speed. One of the rule changes is that in low A, West, they're going to drop the pitch timer all the way down to 15 seconds. Currently, it's 20 seconds in Double A and Triple A. And I don't know, do you guys? I'm in favor of this. Like, get them while they're young to start keeping this game moving quicker. But implementing at the MLB, like, once those kids start playing with it, then it won't be a problem.
Yeah, I've played with it. I enjoy it. I think it's a 20-second timer that I did, and now they're taking 5 off of it to do 15. I think the game flows better. It just kind of keeps you on your toes. I don't think you don't really notice it a ton where you're like, wow, this is going really fast. But at the same time, there is a better pace. I will say this. It's not very show. Like, I know you guys love like these at-bats, like when these long at-bats, and you got the hitter and you can tell he's thinking along with the pitcher, and you got the catcher and the pitcher trying to get on the same page, and there's batting gloves being, like those real show at-bats that you can't have them anymore.
Well, they can still like step out to reset the clock and stuff. Like there's still gamesmanship.
The umpires, the umpires.
But think of the pitchers you love.
They're going to nip that in the bud eventually too. Like the goal of this is to keep it moving. And it is needed, man. It's really needed. I mean, we do baseball stuff for a living at this point, and there's times, man, when that relief pitcher comes in, that hunky dude who's got to be perfect and he can't hold on a base runner and the game just stops, that you're sitting there like, this is bad. This is a bad product. So, yeah, in on the pitch clock. Trev, kind of what you were saying about it not being show, I need very specific locations for it because I also don't like my pitcher staring at it. If I've got a pitcher that I don't fully trust and he's looking over the catcher's shoulder and it's going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like you're giving up, you're about to get rocked. I don't believe in you. So,
well, they just have to be on the mound though. They don't have to be like throw the ball by the time. They just have to be engaged on the rubber. So like it doesn't make them rush.
And I guess the early studies have shown that the 15, 20 minutes of just lag time that MLB has claimed is the problem with baseball, and it's not. It does get rid of a chunk of that. And, hey, when we were watching the old baseball games, I mean, they get it and go, and you could feel it, and it felt better.
Lance Lynn, all those pitchers are more fun to watch.
I was laughing before thinking if the slightly bigger base does, like, feel bigger next to, like, the Altuve types.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a
Think
bad
about
feeling.
this though. How cool would it be if we did that and we implement it? But then there was like you got like 3 show at bats a game where like these guys could take their time. So like if Judge is facing whoever and you want to see this matchup, you're like, hey,
Timer
you
off.
guys take your time because this is entertainment. Judge versus DeGrom, you're like, timer's off, boys. Like, do your freaking thing. I really think that there should be some thought put into that because if you're trying to emphasize entertainment and there are times that are more entertaining than others, like let's focus a spotlight on that a little bit.
All right.
Full-blown timeouts, Trev? Is that where you're going?
Tie game after the 7th inning. There's no timer anymore. Bam.
Bang.
Something like that.
Within 3. Yeah, I don't mind this. And this is low A and just groom pitchers to work faster. There's a Japanese show. Someone on the wish I knew his name to shout him out on the baseball Reddit. Translates a lot of Japanese like baseball content into English, and it was who was the dude that was on the Blue Jays that was really funny?
Oh,
I am Japanese.
Kawasaki. He was a shortstop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and Koji were doing the podcast, and they're talking about their favorite baseball players, and he said Mark Burley, and he said he loved watching Mark Burley pitch. He said it was this big fat guy that pitched really fast and just threw fastballs and. Yeah, he said, and got people out just with tempo. And he said that Burley would use one of those shoulder strap belt things to hold up his gut, like to support his belly, and then run sprints. And he asked him, like, Burley, like, what are you wearing? And he says, oh, well, running's the best way to keep my heart rate up, but I'm fat, so it's bad for my knees if I don't wear this harness. And he was like, why do you need to get your heart rate up? And Burley said, do you see the speed at which I pitch? So maybe these minor league pitchers about to get their tempo and heart rate. Like, it's just like everyone's just going to be going quicker. That was a good story on whatever Japanese podcast that was or show.
I love that you're in deep like that.
Yeah.
Like you're checking out Japanese baseball podcasts.
Munenori Kawasaki. And he has 1 career major league home run against
Mark Burley.
a friend of Trevor Plouffe,
Hughes.
a big boy of Hughes's ilk,
Like
a relief pitcher.
I don't know. Trevor May.
Little Phillies juice.
Mill one.
Tommy Hunter. Tommy Big Game Hunter.
Tommy throwing those straight heaters up there. Come on, Tommy. Hey, you know what? We could segue that Mark Burley conversation into this step off.
Step off.
Step off.
Step off.
Yeah, high A pitchers will be required to disengage the rubber before attempting a pickoff throw. Violations will result in a balk. So this one is basically just making a balk way more easier for anyone to identify and eliminating the Andy Pettitte lefty pickoff move deception.
This is huge.
Big change. I'm all for it. I don't want to hear anyone argue about if it was a balk or if it wasn't balk. If you go watch Andy Pettitte's pickoffs from the 90s, they're like all balks. It's kind of like unfair that he didn't get called on those. So this will clear up a lot of confusion in baseball fandom. You can be the biggest diehard baseball fan and still have no idea. Like someone will ask you like, Jimmy, you're a big baseball fan. Do you think that was a balk? And I'd be like, I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
The umpires don't know either, dude. It's just a feel thing for them. But this is a huge story because of guys like Andy Pettitte, because of guys like Mark Burley. I mean, what a huge advantage for a lefty to be able to have a move like that. From the day that I had any sort of voice on a big league team in spring training, I would go to the pitching coach and be like, why aren't all of our lefties working on their pickoff move every single day? It eliminates the run game completely. It shuts it down. You're going to keep guys from scoring position. Mark Burley and Andy Pettit. I mean, those are two of the best guys at it. You get a guy in first base. Okay, who cares? He's not going to run. And if he does, I'm going to pick him off because I can hang. I can read it. So now we're getting rid of it. And now, I mean, going first move on a lefty, it's not even going first move on a lefty anymore. It's just going. It's awesome. Like, I think that advantage that they've held was such an advantage, and now it kind of evens the playing field. I'm for this because I like evening the playing field for everybody, and lefties had a huge advantage without it.
And they're trying to just get more running, which I agree. The game needs more action, needs more hit and runs or stolen bases. It's desperate for that. So
I'm going to go no on you guys, mostly personal reasons here. I do like when sports have a little bit of a gray area. The football rule when the defense makes you fumble through the end zone and they get the rock, I'm all for that. It's a little weird. It's a Hail Mary. Lefties, and growing up with Andy Pettit and seeing when a lefty has a good move, it's such a neutralizer. And that's also where I know part of this is coming from. I mean, if lefties couldn't throw over to first, I'd still be in the show. I'd still be snagging second whenever I wanted it. And you guys know an even deeper cut for me. I've been calling for a righty pickoff to third in a big game for so long now. Because, Trev, you say they don't have the advantage. The righties have the advantage to third base.
Well, the risk there is much different.
There's nobody holding the runner on, Jake.
Run
and no one's
a
stealing
play.
home.
It's
what are
sports.
you talking about?
It's competition.
The risk
Trev,
there.
you've never given a sign. Hey, tap the hat. I'm going to third. You get the third out of the inning. Like, that's sports.
Oh, man.
That's sports.
The risk analysis guy right there is like, I mean, if you fuck up, it's a run.
Yeah, if you get him out, you win the game. That's sports.
Jake, lefties, the reason it's a big deal, it's not because a lefty has a good pickup move and picks you off when you're not stealing. I mean, that does happen, but it's not what it's for. It's guys taking off on going first move, and then they can just read it and throw the ball over. They don't have to go home. That's
Trev,
the biggest advantage.
What do you think
have.
I was
That
trying
doesn't
to
happen
do
at
on the
third
base?
No one's
paths,
taking
babe.
off and stealing home, and then the guy reads it and picks over.
Everyone's taking these dumb leads off of thirds with these ridiculous shifts now, man. You run a play, you're out of an inning. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
I love this rule. Those lefties, I'm just not a big fan of pitchers in general.
Yeah.
This is just another one of those rules that always benefited them, and now we're about to run up the score on them.
Yeah,
Not me
I'm all for clarity and no gray area. So I mean, make a rule that everyone in the crowd can know. Yeah, he didn't step off. That's illegal, and it leads to more stolen bases and more caught stealing and more action. I'm all for it. So I don't care about this one. And even if it doesn't work out, even if they're like, you know what, we're not going to do it. I like that they're trying that one out.
Throw to third, boys.
I mean, I did an interview with Jeff Nelson yesterday, and the Jeff Nelson pickoff move, that got made illegal, 5 years ago?
Fake to third, throw to first.
Fake to third, throw to first? Because it never worked, and it was just boring.
Well, it's funny because the rule was you can't deceive the runner. So then they changed that because a righty was deceiving the runner at first base, but then a lefty deceives the runner every single time he picks his leg up and picks to first. I don't know. It's just, I'm happy with this. This also means there's no, what do they call that move? When the pitcher does it to second base, spaghetti, do they call it spaghetti or something? I forget what they called it.
The early bird?
You know what I'm talking about?
Rigetti.
The same thing at second base. You get there, you pick your knee up, and you just
I don't.
act like you're going home.
I never.
That's called the whirly bird in my home.
I don't know if that has a name.
I mean, spaghetti came up in my mind.
I'm just
Is
mad.
it Rigetti?
If that rule happens soon, I'm not going to be podcasting with you guys. I'm going to be in camp. I'm going to be Greg Allen.
Mags. Again, all these have such little ripple effects like that. Like stolen bases will be valued, or like the ability to steal bases will be valued much more. We talk about the electronic strike zone. All these catchers getting on one knee and going from the ground up and stealing strikes. Sorry, learn a new slant. You got to hit now, or at least you got to work on your arm or something. You can't just steal strikes and be in the big leagues for 10 years.
Yeah, and you put the running game back into the game, and now catchers maybe can't worry about framing as much. They got to peg that dude out at second.
Well, they won't have to if there's electronic strikes on. You just go out and catch and be ready to throw every single time, right? That's
a more fun baseball for me. You're describing.
I think so
catchers
too.
Ready to gun, players ready to run. That's more fun to watch.
Catcher arm talent gets valued
Drew
through the roof.
Butera is going to be in the show forever.
Ever. Well, that leads us into the one that I think is the one where I was like, oh, that's wild. A pickoff limit. You only get 3 chances to pick the dude off. If you take the third chance to pick the runner off and you don't pick him off, it's a balk and the runner gets to advance anyway. So this one, I understand the goal. The goal is to have more stolen bases, more action on the base paths. I do think this gets them to that goal. It seems a little crazy.
I'm in on this one. I'm in. Like, why throwing over to first is ridiculous that there are 0 rules on it. They could literally do that all day.
If
someone wanted,
they can't because the crowd will boo you out of the stadium.
Good.
And let me tell you something that hurts the pitchers. They do not want to be booed. You know how fragile the egos are on a pitcher?
Sure do. Every day.
I don't know.
There's no rules.
How could you like
There's
this?
no
I mean,
rules.
there's when a guy throws over 10 times and he's not even throwing with an intent to pick the guy off. When they just lollipop it to first base because they're saving time for a reliever or because he's scared to pitch, like that sucks. I'm all for changing it, but I mean, I don't know.
And now tie
It
in.
doesn't happen that often, though.
Now tie in how I'm keeping the lefties they can throw over. You've got a lefty with a good pickoff move. You've got a speedster on first base. And I would tighten it up even more. You only get 1 chance at a base runner. So if you're a good base runner and you get back on that pickoff move, he can't throw over.
I got a question for you.
Games within the game. That's what we like.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
This is a serious freaking question for both of you. Say they implement this or whatever. Where are they doing this at?
This one is in low A. Low A, yeah.
Put this one in independent ball first. No offense to my indie ball guys. I love you. My brother was an indie ball guy.
Wow.
Chillicothe paint. No big deal.
What is it? Chillicothe paint?
Chillicothe paint?
Yeah.
Chili coffee
It's a
paint?
horse. It's a horse.
Oh, okay. That's a horse, Jake. Chillicothe paint.
Anyways, think about this. Just get into the zone, okay? Picture picks over once. Boom, safe. He's like, dang, I could pick this guy off. He's trying to steal. Boom, picks over again. Now it's 2 times. No one in their right mind is ever going to pick over the 3rd time.
No.
Ever. Okay.
It'd be pimp if they did, though.
So think about this. What are runners going to be doing? They're going to get into like sprint stances at first base.
Good.
And they're going to get off 12, 15 feet.
Get picked off.
It's going to be.
They're not going to get off that. They're
zoo.
not going to get off that much because the pitcher can still just throw it to first base, go into a rundown or whatever. I kind of like the idea of, all right, hey, he's picked off twice. You know, it's always cool when they put in the pinch runner and you're like, dude, he's going. Like, get ready. It's catcher versus runner right now.
Exactly what's going to happen.
That's a really fun feeling in a baseball game, and they're trying to make that happen more. So I don't hate it. This is the one where I think, whatever.
You'd have to get the rules right. It is very tricky. But, man, how many times you see that speedster comes in, it should be the most exciting moment in the game, and instead you get 5 throws over to first. Now you've got the hitters bored, the fans are bored. It's not good for the game.
Fans love to boo something, though. So you're taking that away from the fans, too. And don't tell me you guys aren't at the stadium being like, boo. I know you are, Jake. I know you are.
Yeah, because I don't want them throwing over to first anymore. It's boring.
It is really.
I think about like real game application of this. It sounds good on paper, whatever. But like to me, thinking about like that 2 times picking off. Now what is a pitcher gonna do that and then pitch out
Dude, I
on the third
fucking
down.
love
so
it, man.
Be careful.
So
be
now,
careful with your throws to first. Like that's the whole thing.
dude. Trev,
It's so dumb.
now you got 2 pickoff attempts. He's been saved twice. Now the whole stadium knows this batter's running. Do you put the hit and run on? Does the defense in motion?
Pitch
Is
out,
it have to be a fastball only because the guy's going to steal, but then the fastball for the hit and run makes it easier? Like, I kind of like where that's going.
Maybe
It's a
and
different
maybe
game,
part of
man.
the
That changes everything.
Maybe
It does.
it's
That's
too
where.
much of a
That's where.
change.
It's too much forced that moment. Like that moment's cool. So this is the one where I'm the most like I have no idea. It seems a little nuts, but
you'd have to get the rules right. So you got to mess around with it. So we'll go to the Indie League. We can't ruin Trev's low A baseball, but
bunch of 18.
I mean, they already took away a bunch of low-level minor leagues. There's only 4 leagues now. Like,
Yeah,
just
you were in
relax
favor of
on
that.
this.
you rooted for that.
I was in favor. I'm just saying you don't have to make it a laboratory
So
for
I-
Manfred's like whacked out tests. Like, hey, like these guys are trying to develop into big leaguers. Like, if they need to play a game their certain way, now all of a sudden you're going to change it year to year.
You know what? You know what? The only,
one year you have one set of rules, double A, another set of rules.
You know,
It's strange.
the only one I agree with you there is I think the electric strike zone should stay in the independent league.
Isn't that why they have the Atlantic League to?
Yeah,
they
it's supposed
kinda
to be their
got
science
to
league.
Do this.
It's supposed to be their science league. I don't know what happened to it though.
Shout out indie ball guys. I don't want to seem like I'm coming off on indie ball guys. I'm not.
Okay, he's not. I think that's all of them besides the shift. So let's get into that. You know what? The shift conversation is brought to you by DraftKings. March's biggest tournament is finally here. The Masters. Nope. March Madness. We don't know who will be cutting down the nets and at the end, but we do know there will be no shortage of madness. You can turn $4 into $256 if you bet on Iona to beat those bums from Alabama.
That's not what it says.
That's what the ad copy here says.
That's not what the ad copy says. It
Yeah,
says underdogs.
No, you don't have to choose Iona. My dad got a text today from a buddy. Said hammer Iona to cover.
Yeah, obviously.
Yes.
Patino season.
Yes, Patino, dripping sleeves.
Who's your dad's buddy? I need to know this. I'll put it in. Why
My
not?
dad's buddy, probably one of his friends that went to Iona with him.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So it's
Iona alumni. No bias.
just no bias.
I don't even know what the
You
spread is.
always bet with your heart. That's what they say.
Listen, Iona was just won like 4 straight being, according to seeding, the underdog. So I won people a lot of money.
Yeah.
No idea if they're actually the underdog. But anyway, go to DraftKings, download the app, use promo code Jomboy when you do, and then choose any underdog, bet $4 on them, and if they cover or win, you will get $256. How about that? Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code. What's our promo code? This is not ours.
Jomboy.
Jomboy. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. When you sign up to turn $4 into $256 if the underdog of your choosing pulls off the upset. That's code Jomboy to turn $4 into $256 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or in Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Ooh.
9-WITH-IT.
Snapping.
Go, Iona.
Let me see that grip. Is it the U Darvish grip?
Yeah.
This is the 2 Darvish.
Oh my god.
Who?
I would light you up.
Yeah, Trev.
Yeah.
You better. Pumping 58 over here.
Oh my.
All right. The shift. I was in the airport and they were blaring the heat, even though it was already hot outside. So I was sweaty, gross in the airport, fighting with people on Twitter about the shift. So let's do it again.
Kick it to Trev, man. Trev was running hot on the interstate too. Both you guys.
I was in deep with like a lot of people. In AA, teams will be required to position 4 players in the infield. Each player must have both feet in front of the outer boundary of the infield dirt. So infielders have to start on the dirt. In the second half of the season, MLB may also require that teams keep 2 infielders on each side of second base, though that is not a requirement at the outset. So they're banning the shift in AA. I'm very excited to see the results of this. It's going to be much more fun baseball. I was getting so frustrated with baseball fans for being so anti this, or at least testing it out. Like, the DH, for everyone saying, like, don't ruin the game. The game hasn't changed in years. Yeah, it has. They implemented the DH in the 70s?
Around there.
In the 60s, they moved the mound back to make it harder for pitchers. Like, these are big changes that have been made. We haven't made any big changes in like 60 years. And the talent and skill set is so much different. And I'll kick it to you, Trev, because you're going to have more to say on this. But the biggest thing that people say is like, the game should correct itself. Guys should just hit the other way. Well, we're like 15 years deep into this, and players are actively telling you, I'm not going to hit it the other way. I'm just going to try and hit it in the air over the shift, because that's what the numbers tell me I should do. Trying to hit it over the shift is better for my team than hitting it on the ground and a single the other way. So are we just going to wait another 15 years until, like, at this point, you gave players 15 years to adapt and change and correct itself, and players said, we have no interest in that. We're just going to keep doing it this way. So now it's the league's time to be like, all right, cool. You beat us. You outplayed the game, but it's a worse product for our audience, so we're going to shift it up a little bit. Great job on the defensive strategy. You kind of made the game boring, though, so we're nixing that. That's my thought.
Yeah, and there's just a million ways, at least my mind goes on this, because initially I was in the camp of let defenses do whatever they want. Like, you have the data, you need to use it. Like, why wouldn't you use it? But I agree with you, Jim. I think just the outcome of using the data like that has made the game less fun to watch.
For sure.
What's weird is people are correct when they say if you just tried to go the other way or bunted or something, like the shifts would correct themselves. They are correct about that. Now,
for some guys, like David Ortiz could bunt all day. They would not.
They wouldn't change everything, but they would change it slightly. So like whoever's on the left side of the infield now would end up coming in more and to defend against it a little bit, or at least to show it. So they would change a little bit. I agree with you. A guy like David Ortiz, he's kind of like the no-brainer. But the guy that's getting shifted just because his 300 plate appearance spray chart says to get shifted, if he starts to show bunt or go the other way, they will take that shift away. And even though, and this is the weird part, is even though the defense's data says we don't care about a base hit, like they're trying to prevent extra base hits. And then they're trying to put themselves where you hit the ball most. But for some reason, and I don't know if this is like an on-field thing versus like a computer thing, like a data thing, if you even show bunt, there's going to be someone on the top step being like third baseman, like come in, like at least show them something. They don't want to give it away for free, even though the data says go ahead, you can take your base hit, because it's hard to string together 3 base hits to score that run. So it's a weird thing for me. I was on that camp of no, don't tell a defense what to do. Like, this is the game. And I swear it was Bob Costas, man. When he came on and started talking about how we're not letting our athletes be athletes on defense. And then, it's been kind of popular around the guys around the league are saying the same thing. Buster Posey said the same thing. He's talking about Brandon Crawford. Like, let Brandon Crawford be Brandon Crawford. Like, let him go get a ball. Bob was talking about specifically about the outfield, talking about letting those guys, instead of standing in place where like a guy hits the ball all the time, like let's have somebody go get that ball. Like, that's fun for fans. And then Lindor came out with something. So it's a heavily debated topic right now. But I think if I'm just thinking about it as a lover of the game, I think the shift needs to be brought down dramatically. We need to see our athletes being athletes on defense. I think that's the best case that you can make against leaving the shift up or not.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, Bob Costas brainwashed us all. I mean, literally, he was upside down on our screen, and just having his voice in our ears was a weird form of hypnotization I've never seen. Yeah, man. So going back to what I said when I was referencing the pickoff rules and getting it right, you gotta get these rules right, and that's why they're demoing this stuff in the minors to see how it plays, and that's why they left that addendum for the second half of the season. And I actually really like you got to have two guys on each side of the second base bag, because I mean, right, a lot of the focus is on the lefties and kind of that teacup martini shift that's developed where guys are literally fielding singles in short right field, making the throw to first, and every big lefty power hitter has felt it for the last 10 years or so. The righties are getting shifted on too. We reference the Yanks a lot because that's kind of what we built all this on. But you look at Judge and Stanton, there's 4 guys standing on the infield. 3 of them are just covering the whole left side. Like, protect the righties too. So I'm interested to see how this goes. I want guys on each side of the bag. And you talked about where Bob brainwashed you. I'm in on the outfielders too. I just don't know how you do it, because in the infield, you lay it out. The second base bag is the divider. Line guys wherever you want in the dirt. Knock yourselves out, and that can be your form of shifting. And there's a way to do it, and it'll be fun to see shortstops going up against the bag for the lefty and trying to get over there to make the play. There's another form of strategy there that you can still have defensive game plans while trying to do this. The outfielders, I just don't know what it is, because
you literally have to draw a line.
A baseball field's beautiful, and I don't want more lines on the baseball field.
You got to draw.
I love
that's
me.
how they do it, Jake. I know. Yeah, it's crazy to think about that.
But there has to be a way to do it where the umpires can keep an eye on it and guys are kind of in zones. Because I used to love when center fielders and left field, right field, they'd play shallow sometimes and they'd do this, that, and the other. That's kind of gone from the game too. I mean, how many times do you see the outfielders just standing on the warning track?
Especially when you can shift someone to shallow left or shallow right.
Exactly. So I don't know how to do the outfield. That's the only part I'm missing right now. But I love being on the dirt. And I love having 2 guys on each side of the bag, and figure me out a way to do the outfield. I don't like the lines, baby. That green's so pretty, though.
Put a little X.
Do like a little light green. You wouldn't have to be a white line, right?
A little circle.
Something different. Purple would be sweet.
Defense is the most exciting part of baseball. And, that ground ball up the middle, when it's a guy diving to stop it and then flipping it to the second baseman who's covering, that's really exciting. When it's a guy standing right there, it's boring. And so many people continue to say, just have the hitters hit it the other way. Go listen to Ian Happ on the compound, and Ian Happ tell you that he's like, I could try to hit it the other way, and I'd probably get a single 80% of the time, but my coaches and our risk prevention coach, who does all the data, tells me it's more beneficial to try and hit a double 40% of the time than a single 80% of the time. So it's just off the table. And that's why the players are telling you, I could get that easy single. It's not the best part of my game. Yeah. And it's not, and so it's just frustrating, because what are we going to do? Watch 10 years of guys hitting singles and the shift not stopping and nothing really happening? Let's just get baseball highlights the best way we can. And even Lindor said, let me do me.
Yeah.
Put me on the starting block, and then I'll go fetch the ball, and that's more exciting. So I'm all in favor, man. The shift fucking sucks. I hate
pitchers.
And someone else told me, how is this going to make more action? I said, well, that ball that gets hit to shallow right field, that's an automatic single. Instead, it's caught, and we didn't see anyone move. You saw the second baseman in shallow right, and he didn't even move an inch to catch it. Well, if that's a single, drops in front of the fielder, now you have a runner on first. Now you have a hit and run. Or now you have an outfielder having to field a ball and fucking gun the dude out at third. Or now you have a double play. Or now you have there's just so much more action besides taking all the athleticism away. Guy just stands there, catches it. Now there's no base runner, and you're just on to the next. I think I love baseball, but for anyone new no new fans are coming to the product they have right now, really. It takes someone like Tatis, and he's kind of one in a million. I mean, he's tagging up on fucking pop-ups to the infield. That's what these changes are trying to get more of. Action.
Yeah, I was going to say the pitchers, that are probably watching this and some of them are going to say, oh, we want the defenses where they're going to hit the ball. Like, you're going to take that away from me. Those same guys, are either telling their coaches, I don't want the shift on. There's a ton of pitchers that are like, no, do not shift. Like, this is how I want. And if you have enough time, they will. I assume the guys that at least I talked to, they'll make some changes for you. But when those pitchers get a ground ball to shortstop where the shortstop usually is, and the ball goes through, they're all throwing their hands up like, I can't believe these shifts. So you can't have it both ways. But I believe that having zones for defenders, I think that's the way to go. A zone that you need to be in.
Yeah. One of you two said this, and I full on this now. Get those cards out of the outfielder's hands.
Oh.
Baseball's a weird sport now. There's too much.
Pitchers have them on.
They went full analytics. It was how can we get an advantage in any part of the sport?
The way outfielder looking at a card and then my dad took a video of Cole Calhoun doing it because he thought it was like so weird. He would look at the card and then he would pace like 5 steps and count them out and then put a divot in the ground and then pace 5 steps back and then look at the card and then pace 2 steps back. I mean, what the hell is that? That's not like your athletic ability and your athletic reaction time playing baseball. That's a dude on a computer playing the sport for you. It's like a simulated game.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is, Jim.
So get those cards out of outfielders' hands. That's lame too.
And I'll say this for the baseball corrects himself people. I would have loved if there was a team out there that said, you know what, let's go beat the shift every play, babe, and see what happens. I wish that team did it and we got to saw it, but guess what? Nobody's doing that.
No one cares.
That's not how guys get paid. That's not how anyone cares. So, yeah, it sucks. I get it. You should. Ron Coomer used to be able to hit it the other way. Well, sorry, Uncle Ron's not in the league anymore. And Ron Coomer could only do that because guys' fastballs were 88. Now that's a good changeup in today's baseball. So
barely.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Shout out Ron Coomer though. What's up, Ron?
What up? Shout out Ron. And I love me a Twins third base. Corey Koski, the way he used to handle the stick.
A lot of people were like fighting with me, saying the shift won't change the 3 true outcome baseball that we're in. Like the shift isn't going to bring back the single. But in this Fangraphs article and a lot of other data, it suggests that it very much will.
Yeah.
The shift took away the single, not because of defensive reasons, because batters admittedly stop swinging for singles or trying to hit balls around.
Over the shift.
Yeah.
And
you can't hit it through the shift.
They shift in that lefty teacup, whatever you want to call it, because the ball goes there more.
Yeah.
Guys are still trying to hit.
I had a discussion on Twitter about this, and I talked about how ground balls they've always been death. They're especially death now. So now you have to try to put the ball in the air, and because of that, the 3 true outcome game is here. And this guy came and said, well, the shift isn't really doing that. Ground balls, OPS of ground balls has been about the same for the last 20 years. So I said, yeah, I understand that. But, like you said, Jim, guys aren't trying to hit line drives anymore. They're trying to hit the ball in the air over the shift. I mean, theoretically, there's still plenty of big leaguers that are trying to hit line drives. They're just trying to square the ball up. But what front offices want you to do is they want you to slug, and how you slug is hit it in the air.
Yeah.
And he said that the over shifts that they are doing don't even the data shows that they don't even really change the game. Like you are going to hit into a few more outs when you're shifting. So that's why teams do it, just to get, those few extra outs. Because why wouldn't you? Because you're always trying to find those little margins, right? And my response to the guy was saving a few outs in a game already dominated by pitching seems like not enough of a reason to keep the shift for me. Like if you're looking at it as someone that wants to grow the game of baseball, the shift then has to go. If you're eliminating these awesome defensive highlights to save a few outs in a game, I just don't think that's enough overall to have that stay. Like we need the game to grow. We need highlights. That's what people want to see now. They want those 10-second, 20-second highlights on their phone. And defensively, like we always talk about, those are the best highlights. That's how you see an athlete move in our game.
Yeah.
So I just don't think what teams are getting is enough. to keep it going.
And the StatCast data was that the whiff rates were higher for batters that had an extreme shift than batters that were played straight up, because they're just trying to hit it over the shift. They're swinging harder, which leads more to the 3 true outcomes. So we'll see how it goes in AA. I'm excited. I'm not going to watch any AA games, but I'm excited to hear about it, at least.
Yeah.
I think we'll get there.
Are you guys ever sick of hearing that Ted Williams got shifted? Like, that's all anybody ever says.
I mean, they say the same 3 lines, people that...
It's really hard to listen to all of them.
The professional athletes just hit it the other way. Well, they've come out and they've said that they're not going to do that. So now it's up to the game.
Pay you to do that either.
Yeah.
All right.
DJ had to scratch and claw to get, his 90 mil by going 6 years. If he was a masher with a lower average and a higher slug, he probably could have got that money easier. People pay for home runs.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's all.
So we're all against it, huh?
I am very surprised at how much in the last 3 years I've started to really hate that aspect of baseball. I didn't think I would be here. I was, 5 years ago, I was the other side of this argument, and I was like, oh, it's strategy, blah, blah. But now, I really hate when the outfielders look at those cards. I'm like, that's not athleticism. And the fact that you could, they just take any player and they're like, yes, stand there in the infield. We can guarantee that you don't need to use your range because of the science. That's not athleticism. We want to see these dudes react and make crazy plays, not go, smalls out there and just put their hand up and pray.
We've talked about this on the show, too. It's cute when 1 or 2 teams is doing it. When the Rays are doing something or the A's, it's cute. Oh, that's awesome. They're thinking differently. But when every team is doing it, it's not cute anymore.
And when we were at the World Series, I'm just remembering this, and you could see the whole field. We were sitting in right field. Don't you remember when Turner would run from third to short right field just because there was 2 strikes on him now, and then he'd run back? Jake and I are sitting there like, what is this?
Yeah.
This isn't exciting or this doesn't serve the fans.
And that's I think that goes to the point more. Think about what you just said. The A's or Rays are these teams that have been viewed as the innovators for years. Those teams didn't try to beat the shift because that ain't how it works. So it's it's not going to change. And the defensive highlights, the defensive prowess, think about any sport you watch. You have football players that are good at different things. You have linebackers that can rush the passer. You can have guys that can cover. That's fun. That turns into team dynamics. I think today the Reds were trying Eugenio Suarez at shortstop, which, hey, Eugenio, if you can go pick it, dog, prove me wrong. But I think you're a power hitting 50 homer type third baseman type when you're right. And, I think I do appreciate the Reds not being shy. They got Moose to play second base, and everyone was like, all right, Moose, let's see it. And he's actually been solid over there. But, give
Moose
us...
is always a sneaky good defender, though.
He's sexy, too.
Always a sneaky good defender.
That's the biggest thing for me. But give me guys that can do it all or have their specialties, and, let's appreciate it.
I appreciate
Hey, if you're a young catcher, change your game. That's kind of my takeaway from all this. Think about the changes of what's valuable. It's gonna change. Catchers, work on your throwing arm. Get out of you can't be on one knee anymore. Get up off your butt and be ready to throw every.
It's kind of funny because the Yankees' first round pick, Austin Wells, he's they're putting him through the training right now to retool how he catches with the one knee on the ground for framing. And I almost want to DM and be like, dude, by the time you make it, framing might not be even part of the game. Maybe let him know this doesn't matter.
That's the craziest thing is these organizations, they know that this is coming and framing is going to be nothing, and they're still doing it. And it looks, oh man, that's going to be really funny. Can't fool a computer.
People ever shift on you, Trev? Did you ever look up and a team shifted and you were like, wait, why the fuck are they doing that? That's
always
what my numbers say.
Second baseman up the middle. That was it.
That's all they did?
Yeah, that's basically what righties get. You get the second baseman right at the middle. I'll tell you who it affected the most I've ever seen. Like, of all the people I saw got shifted, the one that it really, really affected was Joe Mauer. And I saw the Royals were like the first team to figure him out. They would bring Alex Gordon in like short left field and on the line. And all these balls that he used to spray over there that used to be base hits, Gordon's all over them. And then they would move the third baseman over to short, and the shortstop would be behind second base. And all those base hits on the ground balls up the middle, gone. And that he was like one of the first guys that like they figured out how to play Joe Mauer. And, you know, Lord knows what he would have hit if that was going on all those years. Like, he's a batting title guy. Like, he probably wouldn't have won batting titles if they were shifting like that, because he got so many of those hits down the line, up the middle.
And as the shift developed, you know, think about him, like Mark Teixeira, guys that you were taught if you got a fastball you could handle on the inside part of the plate and pull it through the first baseman and the second baseman, that was a hit. You know, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, and I think you saw a lot of guys. You know, Teixeira was like a 280 hitter, and then he came over and he was like a 225, 230 guy, which,
Dude.
You know, I would love, and I wonder if Fangraphs, and I'm sure a lot of people otherwise know out there that are in the analytics game, like if they went full shift rules, like which hitters would we just look at in a totally different light?
Full shift, like take it away?
Yeah, like a lot of the rules we talked about. 2 guys on a side in the infield, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm sure there's a couple big lefties. I'm sure there's a couple big righties. A couple guys on the Yankees.
I always found it was the one up the middle. I mean, you learn your entire life, like, hit the ball back out the box. Like, that's a knock. Like, your swing is good when you're hitting the ball back up the middle, but then now you're like, but I'm out also.
Yeah,
So,
they put a guy right there. Bring
it's
back
crazy, man.
bring back defense.
Yes.
Constant
I'm in for
defense.
that.
Go watch a game. What was one of the World Series we watched? Like the Twins. What year were the Twins win the World Series? 84?
88, 91, I think.
So, okay, there you go. That's even more recent than 1984.
87 and 91.
Go watch the style of baseball that was played back then. It's so much more fun. I love baseball right now. I don't want it to come off like I'm just complaining about the current state of the sport. I just think it can get better, and more fans will come, and younger kids will come to watch the highlights. But
Like you're saying, baseball people get so hot on baseball because America's pastime. Every rule has changes. The NBA changes their rules. The NFL changes their rules. Like, it happens. It's going to be okay. It's to improve the sport.
you still got people clamoring for pitchers to hit.
Yeah.
So, like,
Ugh.
you just got to understand that half of the opinions you just got to throw out. Because anyone that's still like, oh, I want my players to play 2 ways, are so far like, they're like 50 years out of progress and change that you can't even, like, almost like, okay, you don't get a say.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we want to see managers make decisions. I don't want to see managers. Like, I want the players to decide the game. I don't want to see the stench of the front office out there on the field.
I love it when they're like,
And them reading.
just make the pitchers learn how to hit. Okay, so you want mediocrity on both sides of the ball instead of special talent on both?
I do think if baseball just blew that one, I think athletes can be special and there could be crops of Otanis, but like we blew it. Like the ship sailed, so I'm fine with it.
It's just too hard to You have to specialize in that when you get to that level. When guys are so good.
And they just stopped doing it. I get it.
I mean, do any football fans complain that the kicker also isn't a quarterback?
I mean, one day kickers and punters will be the same guy to save positions. I'm on the record for that, so yes.
And
Like,
it is cool when guys can play.
why
both
couldn't
ways.
this quarterback
I like that, but
also
it's
play
a rarity.
defense?
We
Like, does any other sport have the nonsense that, like, some baseball fans have?
yeah.
Yeah, we just don't. We're just not in it.
People been watching pitchers hit for so long and just laying down bunts and automatic outs or swinging and missing.
putting their stupid.
And instead of being like, you know what, I don't think this is going to work out, there's still people saying like, why don't they just learn how to hit? Because it's that easy.
The sport just blew past it, and it's never coming back.
Yeah.
If I never have to see a pitcher put a button-up jacket on when he was running the bases ever again, I will be happy. It is the worst look in all of sports, and I can't believe a pitcher would ever even say, "Please, yeah, give me my code."
Trev, I'm with you there. I think it's like kind of a fun, unique thing, but I can't imagine that like pitchers
You're the
did
biggest
like
sissy I've
pitchers
ever-
did it in a way to like look at me, I'm
Yeah.
special, but it came off so different. It came off like, yeah, dude, look at you.
Yeah.
You're special.
You can't run the base.
You can't run the base with a jacket on. But pitchers definitely
flex.
thought they were flexing and being cool, but it was like the lamest flex and maybe the lamest flex in professional sports was a pitcher getting to first base and be like, give me my jacket, I'm cold out here.
It's incredible.
Dontrell Willis, last 60 games, 101 at bats, 307 batting average, 352, 877 OPS.
Hell
Yeah.
Some of those guys could have been special enough to do it. We blew past it because pitching is so valuable and so tough to
Okay,
come
give me
by.
his career line now.
They don't tell him. Hit 244.
Probably better than I did.
Oh, no.
No.
Trev.
Close.
What's your career batting average?
I don't know. It's 240 something. So hopefully I'm just like a little bit above it.
BBD? Your favorite baseball reference page?
242.
Oh, he hit better than me.
You had a higher OPS, Trev.
Thank you.
Singles aren't a thing in your day.
Think
They're-
you
No, I
paid
was
for
not. Singles were not. They didn't want me on first base. I clogged the bases.
155 career doubles.
that. Different.
That's all. That's all we got.
4 triples in 2015, Trev.
4 triples, Trev? What's up with that?
I don't know. Honestly, there were times before I like really realized how important OPS was. I'd rather have a double than a triple because you pad that stat line instead of like kind of spreading the numbers out. I was adding to
that.
one column,
I like that.
but then it's really stupid to do that because you're leaving a base out there.
Did you ever come close to getting the cycle?
You know, I think I had a game where I had like I didn't have a single. I might have had 4 hits, all extra base, and I didn't have a single.
Oh, so that's
thing.
better. So you're just saying, yeah, I did one thing better. I mean, having 4 hits and having them all be extra base hits is
Maybe
better
that
than
wasn't
hitting
a
for the
dream
cycle.
that I had.
That could have been a
I don't know if I
fever
really ever
dream
had
as
4
well,
extra
so I
base hits
wouldn't
in
give
a
him
game.
credit for that yet.
We'll have to look
We'll
at
have
it.
our R&D department look into it.
I could have dreamed that seriously.
I get it, man.
All right. That's all. Any last words?
Love.
Love? Okay.
Sequence out today.
Oh, what's
Bad.
what's the sequence on?
I did my first homer. Dan has this whole list of things about my career that he wants me to do. So I did my first homer, kind of a cool story. And then I have one coming out. So it's a good one. Go watch it. And then on Thursday, I think I think I had the best episode of Sequence yet,
Wow.
in my opinion.
And Jake's top 10 third baseman came out. How much heat did you
Sex.
heat did you get for
Don't
that?
get Trev started.
Oh, we already had a discussion.
Trev
on
not
this.
happy with Gio Urshela on the list.
Oh, you just haven't looked at his numbers?
Well, Chris Bryant's off the list. Gio Urshela is on the list. I did look at the numbers, and Jake is using a 1-season sample size. So
2 seasons. One's a half season. Third base is
I'll show you
hard. Third base is hard.
I'll show you the 2-season sample size. It's not favorable to Gio.
It is, though.
It is.
But don't make me a Gio hater. This is what I don't freaking like about
Hey,
this.
man.
I like Gio. Now you're making me talk.
Did you get any? What was some other crap you got?
Honestly, the lists have been getting really well received, which I think the most angry response was Colton Wong wasn't on the top 2B list, and that's kind of fair. Like, I'm a big Colton Wong fan. It got tight there, but I mean, third base is a
combined
mess.
2 third basemen so you could put Gio Urshela.
No, there's 2 after Gio because Devers and Suarez are both crazy hitters. But another time.
Okay. My worst third baseman was like the rude one, right?
Yeah. Young Andy Young.
Yeah. Felt bad about it, but what are you gonna do? 3 for 3 errors. It's tough times.
My
I think
dad
someone's-
overheard me listening to it, and he said that can't be true. I watched him do the research on it.
I think someone tweeted at us that like he's not playing third base anymore.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he
Makes
played
sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
that. It was all throwing errors.
Go D-backs. D-backs up.
What are they doing?
Trevor opened up an episode talking about the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
That's the Little League team he's coaching. So someone got really excited. D-backs fan.
I got D-backs fans real mad at us with the TPP.
Oh yeah.
Do you think it's the part where you said couldn't name a player on the team?
Yeah,
Could've been
but and then like we got like 1-star review from a Diamondbacks fan that was like the Diamondbacks hate was unreal. But I wasn't giving hate. I was just saying
The whole time you're saying I'm wrong for this.
I know nothing about you guys. I'm gonna actively try for like a little bit.
Huge.
They just never come up anywhere.
Huge.
Is Bumgarner pitching?
Big
Pitched
time.
really well.
He's pitching well in spring training.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Jake sucks.
My Diamondbacks are 1-2. It's not a great start to the season.